guys, what's up? Welcome to the first official Star Wolvez AMA. I am up on stage here, very excited to be here with FreeMrktCptlst, NVO, and of course, Charlie, Chawolfzo. Welcome up here, guys. It's a long overdue. We are super excited to be talking to the community. And, we are just a mere days away from the generative mint. We have a lot of stuff that we've got to go over. We have a lot of questions from the AMA. A bunch of questions were specifically asked, so we've kind of consolidated all of those. And of course, this is all going to be recorded. So if you got to leave early or you're tuning in late, don't worry, you'll be able to tune in there. But first and foremost, I just got to throw it up to you guys. How are we doing today? How are we feeling getting into, the final few days before the generative mint?
Fabulous.
Couldn't be better.
Yeah, fired up over here. Let's go for it.
Yeah, we're in the final stretch here. We just crossed 100 live listeners, so I think that's a great time to kick it all off. I think the best place to start here is just with some general housekeeping stuff. You know, we've got a lot to talk about with the game. We've got a lot to talk about with the roadmap and future-looking things. But first and foremost, on everybody's mind is the mint process, and I think that is the best place that we could possibly start. So the first question that I have here is, what is the cutoff time to be able to get onto the allow list through all these different mechanisms that we have?
Sorry, my mic just cut out right before you finished the question there.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I mean, just a lot of the questions that we've gotten have been centered around, when is the final moment that they can get on the allow list?
Got it. The cutoff. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think realistically what we want to do is Saturday morning, just so that we can go through all of the addresses, see the duplicates, make sure everything is in tip-top shape before we hand it over to the developers. It doesn't take them very long to upload it, so we're shooting for Saturday morning for anything on whitelist or ascend list stuff, and anything related to things like the free generative mint role. We can be a little bit more lenient on the free generative mint role because the plan there is to airdrop that. We'll mint it into your wallet, so that won't affect any of your ascend list allocation. We'll just drop that in there for you. So we might have a little bit more time on that. I know people are asking that a lot, but for the elder role or the hunter role, Saturday morning is what we're
And people are also asking if they could stack those roles, Charlie. So can they stack those two roles and get more mint?
No. So that is a question that we've maybe been asked 50 times a day, and we didn't do a very good job of making that clear. So yeah, those don't stack. If you have a hunter and then you go to an elder, you're just increasing up to that elder level. You're not increasing to hunter and elder. We are in the process right now of just thinking about maybe upping the limits on all of the allow list levels, just to eat away a little bit more at the kind of allocation that might go out to the public. But more news on that, as R2 said earlier. We'll put out an infographic with the real clear instructions and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're going to make sure that everybody is very clear on how the mint process is going. A lot of questions that we had were centered around the actual allocations of the allow list. How many of these partner projects do we have? How much can we expect to be, designated to the allow list? Are we oversubscribed? And, if so, or if not, how much is going to be left for a public sale, if there's going to be any?
Yeah, well, we have this little council that kind of got brought together ad hoc, maybe like a couple of weeks ago now. We have Cass in there, we have Dude here, just a few of the Genesis folk that have been helping us out, and we've been getting some really good collaborations going on through that. And currently we're at about I'd say 72 to 75% allocated for pre-sale whitelist mints. I'd like to bump that up a little bit higher over the next couple of days. We have a few outstanding things that we want to close off, so we should probably get there. Which means that the allocation for public after that is likely in the region of 20%. There's always going to be a loss rate on kind of whitelist wallets. People forget, people have something to do that day, so the rest will go to the public.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a great segue into how the actual mint process will be done. Will it just all be allow list and then right into the public sale? Is it going to be done in segments, for the Genesis holders and then the elders and then the hunters? How is the actual mint process going to be going down on Monday?
Yeah, well, how we have it set up now, and we're always eager to hear from the community to tell us why we're wrong and how we can make it better. But the game plan right now is to divide it up into something like 12-hour slots for friends and family and Genesis to kind of mint, and then elders and then hunters, and if anyone has a better idea, let us know, because we can always change it. But now we think that gives people enough breathing room to mint when they might want to, and it just takes a little bit of the pressure off the moment. Like we don't want everybody sticking with us for months, and then when it comes to mint day, they're in some mad rush to do the kind of the final thing. So that's our working theory right now.
Yeah, it's really important for us to listen to feedback, and we're not closed off to suggestions in there. Let's move on to the biggest discussion that I think we have on the books today. Most of the questions that we got in the AMA were centered around the game that we've teased in some of the trailers, or not even really teased, like just full on shown. Obviously, there's going to be a game centered around Star Wolvez in the Star Wolvez universe, and people were very excited to ask many questions about that. We had lots of duplicates, so let's basically just jump into that. The first and foremost question on most people's minds, and probably the most asked question in the AMA, is basically, when game?
When? Yeah, I mean, we've the development's already started. Like we haven't. We're not raising money from this mint to then go and build the game from scratch. Like we've already got some really good progress in. And as for deadlines, it's not really our style. As difficult as that can be sometimes, but over promising is not something we like to do. But as we said on the graphic, Q2 is kind of where we want to be. We've got 2 senior developers now in the mix. I don't know if I can say who yet, but maybe soon. And then we have a contracted Web3 team that will handle the complexities of the Web3 for us, the Web3 aspects. So long-winded way of not answering when, but Q2 is still the goal. And once the mint is done, my attention shifts priority to the game and making sure we can get that out as quickly as possible. And we'll scale up the team if needed, but I think the 2 that we have working on it right now are super good. So I'm super excited. It's looking great. That's all I can say.
Charlie, if you don't mind me adding, I think it's also good to emphasize that in the same way that we've kind of iteratively built things in public in the Discord or with everything that got us to where we are now, like there will definitely be stages of releasing the game. So people that have been participating in the project for a long time will have opportunities to help us beta test the version 0 and version 0.5, and it's definitely not going to be like 2 months of radio silence before you get more information on the game and even opportunities to help us work out the kinks, which I think will be a ton of fun.
Yeah, great point. I mean, one of the questions we got asked earlier was how are you going to keep us engaged in the server, you know, after the mint? And I think we've all probably seen the projects mint and then people just leave the Discord. But we have months under our belt of people helping us improve the Discord games, say that this needs changing, this needs improving. And now we're going to get into the major leagues with all the people that have helped us. Like I've said before in the Discord, and it often gets lost in translation, but the game that we're building is for everyone in this room, and it's all of your games. So, you know, if you have interest in game mechanics and tokenomics and all of those good stuff, if you're avid players of, you know, anything from Civilization and Age of Empires all the way to Elden Ring, like our good friend Crazy Swimmer, who is probably playing it right now while we're listening. But you know, if you're interested in it, then you can always jump in our DMs and tell us, hey, I had this theory about this, and what do you think? You know, so we're going to build this together, and you know, just as we were doing with generative. With Genesis, you know, we want to bring people into the fold in a similar way that can be, you know, the advisory board for the game. So that's kind of one method that we will use in order to, you know, keep you coming back and feel invested in the project, because we're going to be building it in the open, and you're going to see the flaws, you're going to see some of the dust in the corner, but I hope after it launches and you know it's playable for all of us, we're all going to feel like, you know, we had a say in particular things, whatever that might be, however big or small.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Let's take a look into the bigger picture here, and a couple questions that revolved around: are we going to see the StarWolvez characters in an interoperable metaverse space like Sandbox, Decentraland, or maybe like a pixelized version in World Wide Web 3? A lot of people want to know if they're going to be able to use their characters in those kind of settings and participate that way, or if this is just, you know, aiming to be our own game in our own kind of ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, there are no plans on the table for that. I think that's cool, but we have a lot of work ahead of us for our game, not someone else's game. So I'd love to explore that down the road, but for now, that's always on the table. But for now, we have a bigger and more important task at hand, which is building ours on top of some of the theories we all created with the you know, with the games in the Discord. So for now, no. But when it comes to kind of interoperability, the game that we're making is, in inverted commas, interoperable, because as a lot of people noticed in the demo video, you can use other collections in the squad that you're building, right? You don't necessarily have to have a wolf. I personally would have 3 wolves in my squad. You know, it will yield you more of the native in-game token. They'll be more powerful in battles. They will look cooler, and all of those good things. So, you know, but as for that, there was also some questions about who, you know, what other projects we are going to be working with. And I think some of them were obvious in the demo video, and we can scale those up and down as we see fit. But you know, we have some strong ties, as you probably know, to you know, some good up and coming pixel art collections like AIC, Artificial Intelligence Club. We're in touch with, you know, Galactic Apes, Kaijus, you know, all of the good pixel art projects are kind of rooting for us, and the wave is growing behind it. So expect us to focus on our kind of interoperability probably before we move into, you know, like decentralized land and Decentraland and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously the focus is on building the best game that we possibly can, and then, you know, maybe the sky's the limit after that. But yeah, let's jump into our game. Let's talk about the game type that we're doing. Somebody asking, like, what kind of genre would you say that our game fits into? What is the game type, the game style?
That is a good question. Maybe MVO, you can have a crack at it, but I would say sort of resource management, strategy, and, you know, battling as well. All the good stuff that any kind of game playing archetype will enjoy. You know, there's the grinder who likes to resource manage and optimize every little thing. And then there is the competitive player who likes to PvP and say you got clap, kid, because they're way better than the other person or whatever. But, you know, I think we'll have that broad spectrum where you might fit in different sides of that spectrum, but you'll still enjoy it, have fun, have a rewarding experience. These are the words that come to mind.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned it earlier, but like the Discord games that we have set up are, you know, much more limited, but also representative of the range of motion that you'll have in the game. Ultimately, it's not purely about battling other users, even though it can be at time. It's also about, you know, opportunities to conduct your own solo missions or quests, but also like you're earning a variety of different economic resources, whether it be potions in the Discord or all kinds of different stuff in the game that you can use to enhance your gameplay, improve your squad, improve your home base, that type of stuff. So that'd be one thing I would add, just to re-emphasize that, because I think it's important for people to really know that like there is a through line from everything we've done so far, and even kind of the lore to a certain extent, to what the future will look like too. But yeah, other than that, I would just say, like, I don't know, I grew up just playing Age of Empires obsessively on PC, and, you know, that's kind of the same idea. It's like you have to go vanquish your enemies and beat them in battle eventually, but to be able to do that successfully, you also have to kind of build your little civilization and farm resources and that type of thing. So it injects a little bit more strategy than purely just kind of battling bosses and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well put. And, you know, there wasn't so much of an idea of skill-based matchmaking back in the kind of when you know, when I used to play Age of Empires or Civilization. It was like easy, medium, hard, right? But with a game like this, it can be dynamic, and if you're a battling type of gamer, you know, the increasing difficulty will come from how difficult or how good and how improved the other people in the ecosystem are. But, you know, there can be some incredibly shrewd or, you know, in you know, very resource efficient users who, you know, can level up certain machines such as barracks or the troops that they have within those, and they take them out onto the PvP battleground, and it gives you an extra edge that you might not necessarily have through just a pure competitive gameplay setting. So there's going to be lots of moving pieces that we like to introduce eventually that that can bring some dynamism to the different aspects of each of the scenarios, which you're all familiar with, and PvPs and battle domes and battle royales. We'll build on top of those principles. But one of the things I was thinking about today when I was kind of reflecting before the AMA was that, like, we started the Discord with one game, which was quests, and when I looked at it again today, I was like, damn, this is the worst possible thing, and we thought it was so good to begin with. It's you literally click A, B, or C, and then the only strategy you have for it is don't click the one you clicked before, or you get penalized like 15%. So we've come quite a long way in that regard. I was just
Still remember writing the prompts for that. That was fun. That was probably back in like November of last year. So
yeah,
it's it's all been compounding since then.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. And Charlie kind of mentioned some of those smack talkers there. I'm just gonna throw it out there, and if any of you beat me in a PvP battle, which will inevitably happen, you got to leave my mom out of it. I don't need any of that.
Yeah, we want to see that though. We better start getting in the training ground.
Exactly. No, I'm looking forward to it so much. Let's dig a little bit deeper into it and talk about some of the teasers that have been put out. This question, it says, it looks like there are 3 in-game currencies: lightning symbol, gold block symbol, and star symbol. I suspect this is the governance Stardust token. It is understood that Stardust tokens can be yielded to staking crews. But can you also please explain the mechanics of the other 2 and the use of them? Are they on-chain ERC20 tokens? Is there a white paper detailing the gameplay to be released before the game launch?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely teased 3 of the resource types. I think the easiest way to answer the question about those is that we are building with Web 2.5 principles, as we kind of mentioned in the light paper recently. The gold block is neon gold, so you'll probably see some traits in the generative collection coming up that relate to neon gold, and you'll probably see some related to the other one that you saw, which was space elixir, and they may and other traits that your rules will take on may impact your the resources that you yield in the game. That's a little bit of alpha there, but and then the star is Stardust. I think we've mentioned it in the Discord a few times, but never fully said it in the demo. I think maybe it just showed a couple of times that you can earn it, but the Stardust will be the in-game currency. It'll be the token that can be earned from the airdrop. It can be earned in the game. It can be used to speed up mechanisms in the game. If you want to improve your earning of all of the resources, you're going to need to improve your home base, which is what you kind of saw in the demo, because the machines will yield you more, and the more you build it up, the more accelerated those resources get yielded to you. So that's kind of the small part of the tokenomics, but so similar in a way to Clash of Clans and some other games. certain types of resources that you earn will allow you to buy and upgrade certain things, whereas this keeps a kind of a balance between the resources that you have, and keeps the game a little bit more interesting and tactical, instead of just having one that you can buy everything with. It just becomes very boring very fast. So that's why a lot of games, even board games like Settlers of Catan, will have 5 resource types that you're constantly trying to juggle between. So the neon gold and the space elixir won't be on chain. We'll store those on our servers, and the reason behind that is just to limit the amount of gas that you need to pay for things that don't necessarily need don't really need to be transactions at all. Like if you go and do a mining mission in the game, and you come back 12 hours later and a couple of your machines have yielded you some space elixir, clicking and grabbing those that you got yielded should not cost you anything. It doesn't really make sense. But when you earn the native token, that then becomes something more of the basis for the underlying economy in the game, and also the kind of the marketplace or specials items marketplace that was kind of shown in the demo, which I think there's a question maybe coming up about it, so I can delve into that a bit more. But the Stardust as a token will be the only one that's really causing any kind of like transactions in gas to occur. So limiting it as much as possible. So the game is, I don't really find it that fun to always have to pay gas when I play P2E games. So that's part of the philosophy behind that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's the perfect segue into one of the other real common questions that we got. And it was just how, the tokenomics are going to work so that we can create a sustainable token, a sustainable game. And the use case behind the token, a lot of focus on, a current meta, the whitelist marketplace that's going on. How do we plan to use the token in a long-term sense?
Yeah, I mean, I showed it on the demo as well, but I think the marketplace meta in NFT land right now is a little overplayed, or at least, it's coming to a saturation point. I don't know how you guys feel. Free market, you probably have a very strong opinion on that. I'm in if you wish, but I think probably it's not the move to have a marketplace, a whitelist marketplace in the game that just has any NFT collection that under the sun that you can buy. I think if we did it, it would be highly focused on really good quality stuff. But it'll also be the kind of the access point for you to use your earned Stardust to then go and buy some Star Wars merch or entry into the next collections that we have planned down the road, and plural collections, building out the space, the whole kind of universe in front of us. So
I certainly agree. I mean, I think that if we were to do a whitelist marketplace, we would want to put a lot of thought into it. I don't think it's a bad meta but it is definitely becoming saturated. And like Charlie said, I mean, since the beginning, our entire focus in this project has been quality, especially with the partnerships we're bringing. So if we do a whitelist marketplace, eventually it's going to be very well thought out and deliberate how we do it. So
yeah, and I'm not complaining about whitelist marketplaces. I mean, I was talking to some of the Genesis room yesterday, and we were looking at I forget who it was now. I think it was the Uyghurs, and we had 75 spots up on there, and they went within 5 minutes. So that's great. It showed us also intent, from the outside world about what they see for Star Wars, which is clearly pretty good indication that if they're selling out that quickly, and they were one of the, or if not the most expensive on their marketplace. So it's a good market signal. It's a good data point, as well as just being an opportunity for people that don't necessarily want to grind in servers and do the whole whitelist race. So I think there's a place for it, but I think if we were going to do it like we always do, it's always going to be slightly different from the norm. We'll
that's what we do good. I like it.
Yeah. We zig while they zag. That was the
skate to where the puck is going to be, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in terms of the tokenomics and the sustainability of all of this, I know that NVO has a really great theory behind these games that is kind of within our ethos and how we've been operating and designing it, and that the underlying thesis behind all of this is that the game just needs to be fun. And if the game's fun, the managing the tokenomics and the underpinning ideas behind it becomes a lot easier. NVO, do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to kind of tie this to some of the question around tokenomics. I think anytime you design something like this, trying to make sure that the ecosystem is like economically balanced is one of the hardest things to do. Orcs is obviously an incredible success and an incredible team. They've done a really good job from my perspective of like keeping Zug ecosystem balanced over time. But like even them, some of the updates that they've rolled out, like there have been skews and it's been easy. Like some really kind of quantity users have been able to find like paths to exploit and gain like an outsized amount of resources. So like biggest thing to keep a ecosystem balanced and like the most important approach is just to keep it really iterative and do what we do well, which is make adjustments over time and kind of be conscious of constantly monitoring kind of the output of the systems that you have in order to make adjustments when you need to. Like we've done this in the Discord when people have been very honest with us at times and be like, wow, like solo battles, for example, are way too overpowered right now. I'm getting like an inordinate amount of XP. Like we need to do something to dial that back. So I think that ties into like building trust with your community to have that level of rapport where people are giving you feedback, not just when something isn't working for them, but also feedback when something's working too well for them. But to tie it to your overall point, like if the game is fun and people enjoy playing it, that also then lends you that level of kind of camaraderie and trust with your community to work out the kinks, whether it be ecosystem gets unbalanced when a new feature gets rolled out, or like a certain type of team combination is like too overpowered. So the underpinning of all of it is like if everyone's having fun together, the way that we've been doing in this Discord for 6 months, like if we keep that going for the next 6 months, like that's the most important thing for a successful game, and to iteratively keep like economics balanced too.
Our general battle, and this is the battle for every P2E, is mitigating how much people want a 3,3 versus actually play. And I mean, even in the recent orcs phase is what you're seeing right now. What they did is they're trying to encourage more gameplay and less farming. So it's as Nick said, this is a constant battle. This is the game us as creators play. All right. You guys are playing the game we present you. What we are playing is every phase and every iteration we make, we want to encourage more gameplay and less farming. And it's not that we're against farming. We just know that for long-term sustainability, that's how you have to structure the tokenomics. It's about encouraging gameplay. And I think, what we have is really good towards doing that. And as we release a, more comprehensive white paper, you will see that. But understand that is where we think our team is proficient. Behind the scenes iteration and keeping the game alive, smart, and encouraging play versus farming. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I mean,
oh,
sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say is like, these P2E games, especially the ones that we see now, it's all about making choices, right? Choices with the game. Do I do X or do I do Y? How do I optimize either for my own fun or my own benefit? And, at the end of the day, the more fun the game is, the more demand there is to keep the token within the gameplay. The more choices you have, the more difficult choices you have. Because at the end of the day, if you're choosing between farming a token or playing the game, the choice is how much do I want to be playing the game? So if we can create a lot of demand around playing the game, which at the end of the day is fun, tokenomics are a lot more sustainable because, we just, the impetus is on people to have fun playing the game rather than I'm just, right? And that all just goes back to fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one of the reasons to go with Web 2.5 instead of pure play Web 3 to begin with is that if you go all the way down that route, you don't have a lot of leeway to iterate. And we know we need as much room to make mistakes and be able to quickly correct them as possible. So a million mistakes are going to make the beautiful thing, whereas like if we shoot for the moon straight away and completely miss it, then we might screw up our chances of something fun. And I've listened to other founders and other P2E builders talk about their games, and the best ones are always the ones that encourage different archetypes of gamer to thrive within the game, whichever you are, or whichever blend of them you are. It has to satisfy those things, right? Me personally, I like the civilization type games, the Age of Empires and the Clash of Clans type games, because you can be very resource efficient, and that equates a little bit to farming, but there has to be a bigger purpose, right? Like Envio said near the beginning, like if you're playing Civilization and you just farm and grow cities endlessly, you're not going to win the game, because you're not going to, there's no point, right? So and then I think the other side of the coin is some P2E games are made just to put a front end on what people in kind of NFT world call like the Ponzi schemes, right? Where it's just stake your NFT, get some tokens, sell the token, keep it forever, and we'll just keep giving you money, right? That's not a game. That's just that's a retention mechanism, which is great too. And I think a good game should be a retention mechanism for holders as well. So all in all, we will keep going back to, like, is this playable? Does it have enough scenarios for all the different archetypes? And are the tokenomics balanced? Like, does it make sense to play it monetarily as well as like quality of fun?
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot I muted myself. Yeah, I mean, again, the on this whole get fun after. So, on that note, let's talk a little bit about like the gameplay and the interoperability. A lot of people have seen, the galactic ape that's in the preview there. Obviously, we've a bunch of other partner projects. What is going to be their use case? How will they compare to having the wolves in the game? And how do you see partnerships kind of coming together in one game?
Yeah, so going back to like almost day one of, hey, we should make a game around wolves, is there a way to have all of the pixel art projects that we love come together in one place, and be usable in the same place, right? So when I think about some of the collections that I really love, which I love Galactic Apes. Like, it was one of the most fun mint nights I've ever been part of. Like, I love the art, I loved everything about it, and unfortunately the game didn't come to fruition, and I think it will do, but it didn't at the time. So it had me thinking, and I posed it to the group, like, what if Galactic Apes didn't need a game in order for us to add utility to a galactic ape? And so and I use galactic apes a lot because I just love them. So but it's equally applicable to pixel art projects out there that do have games. So Blockchain Bandits have a game coming out, and I played the demo, and it's really cool. But using a Blockchain Bandit in the Star Wars game means that Blockchain Bandit's owner will have a whole new piece of utility that they didn't have before, which is completely unrelated to the Blockchain Bandits team, who I think are executing super well. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, it's spreading the risk somewhat away from some of the other collections. So, Kaiju Kings released the rooftop game, and there are other collections with similar kind of platformer games and such. But once you've played that, and if they don't necessarily appeal to you, then there isn't another thing that comes out for a while, right? So that was kind of the underlying principle behind the interoperability. How can we rise all tides for pixel art owners and pixel art projects that we love? and that can scale up to ones that don't even exist yet, that are really cool. So I think in that sense it's unique and it's really promising. But as for the utility in the game, the Genesis wolves will always be the crown jewel of the Star Wars universe. Like they're the fundamental reason we're here. They're the fundamental reason the collection has gathered steam in any way. So they'll always have the most, kind of utility in the universe, but also the most yield within the game for Stardust, and the most health points in battles, and the ability to mine the most in the mining missions and stuff like that. And then a wolf, Star Wolf generative will have lesser but similar power in all of those kind of attributes. So if you take a wolf into a PvP fight with another user who's got maybe 3 littles, or a wolf and 2 littles in their side, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to beat the Genesis unless you're really, really, really good or really lucky. So providing some OP-ness to, I can't believe I just said OP-ness, by the way. OP.
I wasn't about to interrupt you. I was just going to let you keep going.
Yeah, a level of OP, overpoweredness to the Genesis was always a kind of part of the goal, and the same goes for Star Wolves themselves, the generative Star Wolves. But then there will be yield for having a galactic ape in your squad, or an anonymice in your squad, or a crypto bat, whatever it might be, and they will yield less, but they will still have a function in the game. They will still have HP, and interestingly enough, like, they won't all have the same level. If you have a really rare kaiju king, it's going to be more powerful than a not very rare kaiju king. And we have a lot of kaijus in here, so you guys are going to have some pretty strong squad members in your crew. So that's going to be really cool. So all in all, so go ahead.
I was just saying, kaiju's run in pack.
Yeah, and they're gonna be useful in the game. They're gonna be they'll be able to yield, and they'll get you resources in the game that you'll need to level up, rank up, all of those good things.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, this can kind of parlay into another question that we had too. There has been a lot of questions about supply. Do we think that 8,808 much? Is there reconsider that? But on the other side of it, there's the question of, how do you get as many people playing this game as possible? That it will drive adoption and Star Wolves. So for a game to be successful, you need a massive player base. How do we see ourselves sustaining those numbers, keeping them, and even growing those numbers to make sure that the game ecosystem continues to?
Yeah. I mean, there was a question or a couple of questions about supply, and then there was a competing question about how do you get 100,000 gamers. And I don't necessarily think we need 100,000 gamers for a P2E game, although I would never say no to that. But the first wave has to be a healthy amount of wolves in existence in order for us to have a game that has enough people in it. So that's kind of the thinking behind the supply. It wasn't, we were never building a project where we wanted 1,000 wolves out there so that the floor price could go to 45 ETH. Although I would love that, but like we wanted to keep it. We wanted to keep it relatively large, and I also don't think it's even that large in the grand scheme of things either, but enough for people to own one, to get in access to the game and start playing, and then use some of their other NFTs to fill up their squad and really start competing. The other part of it, the question is, how do you then expand from there? So our first thought is we're going to be beta testing, and I think in America I should be saying beta testing, but with some trusted members of the community, the Genesis crew, and some fine folk from the elders as well. So we'll use the collective brain to the V0 to make everything kind of a lot more polished for V1, which will be anyone with a wolf can play the game and then fill up their squad with whomever they wish. And then V2, when we feel comfortable with the tokenomics and the way that the game is progressing and the complexity levels and how challenging it might be and how fun it is, once we feel like we've got all of that right, we can move to V2, which is where we can perhaps open it up so that you don't necessarily need a wolf to play the game, and when that happens, the captive audience or the caption area is kind of much larger. Like there are plenty of people out there with a couple of kaijus and a little that might not have a wolf and might be priced out of it by that point. So they can then come along and start playing, and then the game becomes a platform as intended for the whole pixel universe, pixel NFT universe to coalesce and play amongst one another and build together.
Yeah, exactly. And it all goes back to that interoperability and inviting other brands and NFTs into our community and being able to work together and kind of grow together. All right. Well, last question about the game now. And it's one that definitely has been talked about a little bit. And it's around how will the game be able to play? Was it just desktop? Are you going to be able to play on mobile or any of the other game systems? And are there any challenges behind any of this?
Well, the game is designed for any screen. There are going to be challenges up front with regard to mobile because MetaMask doesn't let you turn the screen in landscape. So we'll have to do some trickery down the road, maybe with Wallet Connect or something like that allows you to play in the kind of native mobile OS browser instead. And definitely I would love to do that down the road because playing games on mobile is a tried and true method of success, just in terms of like getting people in a repeated journey. But we did a little bit of research in the Discord. Like I asked a few times, how do you typically do your NFT stuff, like your P2E, and the majority of people said said desktop. So and now it's going to be desktop. I think it's easier to build that way, and I think the majority of us have desktop computers. So I'm not saying we don't have mobiles, but I don't think anyone will be left out just for the first iteration.
Yeah, perfect. And I apologize. There is one other question that I kind of glossed over about the game, and that is basically about, similar to PvP, is there any idea between having squads where, you can team up with other wolves and create a squad and battle each other that
Definitely.
way?
I really want to do that. I've tentatively called them alliances, and again, open to suggestions from anyone about what those should be called. But I think there is small groups of people in the Discord already that have become friendly and familiar, and I think there's a power to cooperative play that is really fun, and there is something cool in my head about someone like Hayes pinging me while he's out somewhere and going, can you check on my base and make sure that nothing's going wrong or something like that? And then I can just hop in and, you know, tweak some stuff or mess it up, whatever I want to do. But, you know, stuff like that. And then go into, you know, battles together as a crew, as a group, I think is super cool. So yes, I don't know the exact details of how that's going to work. That would be quite far down the line, but I think it's something to work for and bear in mind as we as we build, you know, some of the tokenomics and the way that the game will play out and stuff like that.
Yeah, amazing. NVO, Free Market, we're going to wrap up the game segment of this AMA. If there's anything else at all you want to add to the conversation or finish off this segment with.
Yeah, no, the last thing I'd say is, you know, we're building the game first and foremost for kind of the type of user that's sitting in this conversation right now and already hanging out in the Discord. But, you know, my goal as part of this also is to be able to talk about the game to people in my life that aren't in NFTs yet. Like, I'd be excited if this catches kind of like more cultural currency the way Axie did. Obviously, that's a lofty goal, but like having it be something that people that don't necessarily already own an NFT get excited about and like onboard them into the space because the game is cool and fun to play. Like, just telling someone like invest in this profile picture, it might go up in value or it might go to zero, isn't a very effective way to like get my friends excited about shit that I've been staying up until 4 a.m. doing for the past year, you know? So that's what I'm also excited about.
I am not a gamer in any traditional sense of the word. I was not a gamer. The people on this stage have been in the past. They know that well better than me. When it comes to P2E and on-chain gaming, I'm an absolute obsessive. This tickles the game theory part of me. It is all I think about. I mean, Orcs and Raid Party are running my life right now. I wouldn't have it any other way, and it's how I'm looking at Star Wolvez also. I'm absolutely obsessed. This is to me where it's at, and you know, it's what I'm thinking about all the time. So this is really, you know, I am super excited about this game, and you could be sure it's in good hands.
Yeah, one more point, I guess, just to wrap it up as well, is like there is a lot of criticism out in the world from non-NFT and crypto enthusiasts, like people that are sort of still naysayers on what we all love, but that say, like, you know, the game houses that have built amazing games before, they're all, you know, built by incredible veterans of the gaming industry. But, you know, there is a reason why the Web3 culture is prevalent now and is, you know, taking form, is because there's an openness to it. There's a ability to, you know, take different directions and experiment more. Whereas, you know, if you put out a game like Cyberpunk, or if you put out a game like Call of Duty, you put it out and that's it. Like, there's not really that much turning back. Like, you patch it, you make some, you know, changes to it, but you've spent, you know, in the case of Cyberpunk, it was, I don't know, 6-7 years they were building that thing, maybe more, and then, you know, it's kind of disastrous at the end. Whereas, you know, the Web3 world and the NFT world that we're used to moves much faster. We're able to see further into the future, with, you know, with kind of, you know, with more promise than traditional gaming. So I'm excited about just generally the way that Web3 can change some of the dynamics to games that have never been able to happen before. You know, there are some similarities that we see with games like FIFA and Madden and stuff, where you build your own team and you kind of buy the in-game currency in order to improve that team, and same with Clash of Clans and stuff like that. But, you know, it's never been something that you really own. Like, I don't own my Clash of Clans base. I don't own my Fortnite skins. So, you know, we're entering a new domain where a whole new set of people with, you know, great minds are coming and are going to change it up completely. And I'm excited to be part of that, and excited for everyone in this room to be part of that. So let's make it a sensation.
Yeah, and I just want to add that, like, over the course of the last 6, 7 months and being a part of this project and talking about this project, the Star Wolves, the power of its brand, and where all of these things can go. And then, starting to develop this game. I know that Charlie and I have talked a lot with each other about some of the games in the past that we've played. And I know that NVO has played games. And then we have Free Market, who wasn't really a gamer at all, but has always been a big participant in the NFT marketplace. And, now that P2E games have come into vogue and grabbed a hold of him, I mean, we have such a great variety and diversity of experience in traditional and in Web3 gaming. And now that we're coming together to kind of build this project for you guys, it's been an absolute treat. It's been a lot of fun. And I keep saying the word fun, but that's what we want it to be, and it's been fun even just thinking and talking about it through all of this. On that note, we've got a couple of other small questions. We had a general kind of inquiry section and a roadmap section. We're going to kind of just bang through those. They're nothing too heavy hitting and whatnot. Again, the bulk of the conversation in the AMA channel was definitely around the game and the mint. But we actually had quite a few people asking if we're hiring. Charlie, you want to take that one away?
Currently, no, but I don't see why we wouldn't hire someone from the community. If they input on the game in a kind of a sensational way that helps the game develop to a degree that we wouldn't be able to do ourselves. So like I'm obviously open to it, and I would love to hire community first. I think that's the way to go. The people that ask the question probably have been in the Discord for a while and want to be want to see the project succeed. So there's no better interview, if you will, for someone hopping on the team eventually than that. So I'm open to it. We're not hiring right now. So when the opportunity emerges, the community will be the first people we look into, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a couple people, and this has been a question almost from the get-go when we started dropping it in the teaser videos. What is the story behind the numbers 830, et cetera, et cetera?
It's one of those things that if we told anyone, I'm not sure what would happen to the fabric of the universe,
Yeah, that is the one that is being kept under lock and key, closest to the chest.
I mean, the numbers connect to all things, right? So we've always said that they're always going to be important. I don't think we've actually released all of them either, so maybe more of those will come down the road.
Yeah, some of them definitely still redacted. A couple of questions about the lore post. What is the purpose? Why were people writing all of this lore?
NVO, you probably take this better than me. I mean, the short and long of it is we've been building for a long time. We take slow, steady steps that with purpose and intent, and we want it to be a place where other people can come and express themselves in a way that they don't typically do in the world of NFTs. I think we've unlocked the inner writer in a number of people that didn't really know that they had it. I think that in itself creates just a piece of value to that person, because we were always telling someone in the pack chat or whatever, I don't know how to write, and then they wrote something so interesting, and you're like, you can write, you just needed to push yourself. So it's just a gift back that probably didn't feel like a gift at the time, but
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said. Charlie. I think first and foremost, we wanted to do some allow spots in an interesting way. And as I thought about it more and as we kind of rolled it out, I kind of, framed it for myself like this. Like, so many of us are consumers in the NFT space, first and foremost, or perhaps exclusively. So like, even as you're kind of a community member of StarWolvez, I wanted to offer people a chance also be like a creator in the project as well and exercise your own creativity in it and contribute to not only our lore, but like the lore feeds into everything that we're doing. It feeds into the way that we're building the game, and it kind of underpins the entire like narrative and ethos of the project. So like, in the 4,000 posts that now exist in the community lore, like we've been reading those for 6 months, and they've absolutely influenced the way that we're building already. So that's the first thing I'd say. And then, yeah, the second thing is, sometimes people just need a little bit more of a push to kind of be vulnerable and experiment and get yourself out there a little bit. Like, I believe in that super strongly. Like, even though none of us are on here on video or with like our normal headshot as our profile picture, like there's something even more profound about being asked to write your story or do something related to kind of the way that you see the world and contribute that back into the space. Like, how often do NFT projects like ask you about yourself? Like, most of them don't give a fuck about you. So we wanted to just shift that a tiny bit.
Yeah, I also disagree with one point you said. Like, I am using my real profile picture. This is what I look like. But yeah,
I'm spending all of your money on plastic surgery to actually just look like you're real for 6 months now.
The mouth is stuck open constantly. Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride. On 4,000 is like unprecedented. I think I've just never seen anything like it, and a testament to the creativity and brilliance of this community, and also when book.
Yeah, I'm very excited to put the lore as well as community lore and great artwork into a physical product that people can enjoy and that can gather dust and stardust on your bookshelf for millennia to come. So,
will you do live signing at the Barnes and Noble as well?
Yeah, should we all show up in like wolf costumes and role play a little bit?
I expect nothing less.
I still can't stress this enough. I look like this already.
People have been asking about when's the first StarWolvez meetup, and it's at a Barnes and Noble, guys.
Work. Hello, fellow.
We got to survive for 24 hours out there on our own and like attract a bunch of actual wolves.
We know how to party.
Oh, that's awesome. NVO, a really important question came up in the Genesis chat, and he asked, how much stardust would it take for you to write his 10,000-word dissertation?
Ooh. Dissertation for what?
I don't know. It was a little vague.
I mean, if it's about like 19th century Russian literature, I'll do it for free. But if it's about chemistry or something like that, I'm probably going to be shit out of luck.
Perfect. All right, and then just some brief roadmap questions before we start wrapping this up. Another like a big one that was pretty common was, are there any plans for a collection after this?
Yes. Yeah. I have two in mind that I want to do. And I always get ideas. So I want to keep them close to my chest, and I've teased a little bit on some of the imagery here and there, some of those ideas. I don't want to give any kind of definitive stuff yet, because unless there's massive progress on it, it's not worth it. But the plan is definitely to expand the universe, to look back into the history of the wolves, where they came from, or at least what happened back then when the world was less of a deserted nuclear mess, and then possibly look into their future as well. I'm really big on I'm really big on the idea of mixing up the mediums as well. I think uh, the pixel art physics and the way you can build them is fairly limited. Like, I think we've pushed it pretty hard with some of the wolves and some of the traits that are coming out on Monday. But there is a wealth of different mediums out there that we can venture into that can illustrate things in some of the lore that are more fitting to that period or more fitting to that storyline or some character's storyline. So yeah, I mean, definitely something I want to do. My focus and the focus of the folks on the stage right now, when when we mint out, is going to be the game until we get it in a nice place. But in the background, I will definitely be working on something else as well. There'll be a nice snowballing effect, I think, throughout the year. You're going to want to hold your wolf, if not more than one. I would highly recommend doing that.
Oh, a little bit of alpha there. I guess the final question that I would have to kind of tie up this whole conversation, and it kind of is an amalgamation of a lot of questions, and we've touched on a lot of these things that I know are going to come up in the answer. But what strategies do we have to ensure the longevity and sustainability of the StarWolvez project? Obviously, we've talked a lot about developing the game and making the tokenomics work for the long term. But what is kind of like the big picture scenario here in the back of your mind as we grow the StarWolvez ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, the vision is to build out a universe. Like every aspect of it is a story ready to be told. We have some members in the lore that we've read already that we don't know anything about. So with that in mind, that can take many different forms. We have the game, which in and of itself should be the not just a place to play and have fun, but it will be the platform from which other initiatives can grow from. So, whether that be some of the partnerships that we're working on, and this term partnerships and collaborations in NFTs has really confused me, because a lot of the time they're not really partnerships. Like there's no agreement, or it's just a handshake and you throw stuff around with each other. But some more formal partnerships are on the way. One of which is really big, but it's under embargo currently. I can't say anything. I think some more public ones are, we're working closely with the AIC team, the Artificial Intelligence Club team, to bring stuff to reality. We haven't found quite exactly how we're going to proceed with it, but it's going to happen. So longevity takes the form of this game, which becomes a platform. Partnerships then feed into that platform, or we feed into their platforms, and then more collections down the road that will spawn different things. So if Star Wolvez and the Genesis Wolves spawn the game, the next collection will spawn something similar, and the collection ensuing from that will spawn something similar. So there's always going to be something that's been worked on or being worked on that'll be worth sticking around for.
Fantastic. I have one last question, and sorry, NVO, I just saw you on mute. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I was just, the last thing I'd say, which, we've talked about at times, but I think the thing that will also lend some of the longevity to the project is how, I want to say slow, but like how long we've taken to get to this current point, like as opposed to like a 2-week public sprint. We've put in the Discord probably in early January, and we're doing stuff behind the scenes since almost like the end of Q2 2021, I want to say, or like early Q3. So I think the longer you've taken to build out the foundation, the more time you've given people to really build a sense of camaraderie around it, and that certainly will help going forward too. So just my last piece on that.
True that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to throw out a question to each of the three of you, myself, and as NVO just touched on, it's been a labor of love for a surprisingly long time now when we look back on things. But you know, the goal was always to be putting something out that we're incredibly proud of and that we can look back on and really take pride in. What's kind of been your, if you could look backwards, your personal account of the process up to today from the last 7 months? You know, how have you felt watching all of this evolve, the art grow and all of that? You know, Charlie and I often have a great laugh about some of our early iterations, which maybe one day you'll see, who knows, but it's been a process. Do you want to each just give a minute and talk about, you know, how this has all gone for you?
Yeah, I mean, I can kick off. You know, for me, it's a labor of love. You know, a lot of time goes into minutia, and you know, very early on, I think it was often said like, you need to be more transparent. You need to be more open. Like, we don't know fucking anything about this project. Like, can you tell us more? And I think as the you know, as we opened things up a little bit more and made things more clear and rolled things out, it showed that the NFT collections don't always have to be rolled out the same. You know, I think that this was kind of a core golden thread through the light paper we put out, which was, you know, kind of like, let's dare to be a little bit different in the space that has formulas for success that repeat themselves every day more than once, right? Like, can there be something different? And you know, in and of itself, Star Wolvez has been somewhat of an experiment in taking a directly opposing position on something that everyone else believes to be true, you know. So in some cases it's the wham bam, here's our sneak peek, you know, 2 weeks later they have 30,000 followers on Twitter, and then they launch and then it disappears, right? Like, I don't invest in those kind of things. I don't invest my time in those. So I put my effort into building something with you talented folk that reflects that. You know, time, care, and effort in all things that you care about, you know, create something really special. And this is the showcase of it all. And also, like, there is like a disillusionment I had at some point with the way that the NFT you know, crowd was going, and it felt very much like, you know, the when culture was here to stay, and the, you know, the spamming and all of that stuff. And it's just nice to know that there are people out there that we're now, you know, I would call friends now, that feel the same way and have gathered in a safe place now, and will continue to make it safe and funny and fun. So yeah, I mean, there's been some anxious moments, but all in all, it's been fun.
Certainly stressful, certainly some anxious moments. And, you know, labor of love sums it up well. Like, the genesis of this, you know, I have been obsessed with wolves since I was a kid. And of course, for the last 3 years, I've been obsessed with NFTs. And I mean, the whole time I've been in the business, every time you see a project, you mint it, you invest in it, you're like, well, this is good, but I would do this different. I always in my heart wanted to make the project that I wanted, right? And I had conceived, because I was obsessed with wolves, I had conceived this thing called Meta Wolf. Now, Charlie, completely separate of me, no idea. And mind you, I had kind of built and bonded with Charlie, and we had a friendship. You know, we joked the same way. We had come from this amazingly successful project called BitClout together. And, you know, it was just this thing where all of a sudden one day he drops this picture of a wolf. And I was like, I don't know how he pulled this image out of my head, but he saw this thing, and I literally, he was showing these pictures. I DM'd him, and I said, "Yo, you're not gonna believe this." And I sent him this rough plan of this thing I had been conceiving. And Charlie was like, "Are we gonna do this?" I was like, "I want to do this more than anything in the goddamn world." And we've certainly moved away from it, and you know, and then we got NVO on board because I knew that he's a great writer, and everything about this project is what I've wanted to see in NFTs. It's why I'm so excited. It's why I'm hyped. And I mean, this is it. It's pure. It's a passion of love. We've built it out in front of your eyes. It's what we care about. It's been deliberate, and we're just super excited to finally get it into your
hands. NVO, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of what I feel has already been said well by FMC and Charlie. I think like specific thing that I reflect back on as an inflection point when I got really serious about this and was like, okay, we're actually going to like take the time to make this our baby and do it right, absolutely smash it, it was around like November or December of last year. We had started kind of our Twitter promotion, and then all of a sudden you got a flood of like 8 wolf NFT projects. It was like we had done the market research to a T, and then a million copycats just came out of the woodwork and started being like Wolf A, Wolf B, Wolf C, I don't know. Like all this different stuff just started hitting the market, and they started doing it in like the cookie cutter way of like 2 weeks of hype on Twitter, and we're going to mint some shitty art, and then you're never going to see us again, and good luck with it. Like in that moment, we could have said, shit, we need to front run these people now. Like we have to launch. But, you know, here we are 5 months later, having taken our time to do it exactly the way that we wanted and stick with a plan effectively. So yeah, I think that encapsulates both like the ethos of what we've been doing, and the point where I got really excited was when I realized that like all of us were super aligned on not doing that. And even though there was like a complete rush of people trying to copy us and dump similar stuff on the market, we stuck to our guns and just kept at it. Yeah, that was a big moment for me in the process for sure. But then, yeah, the last thing I'd say is I wouldn't have spent 7 months doing this if I didn't actually enjoy, you know, working with the guys on the stage and hanging out with the people that we've already brought into the Discord. Like every time I hop in there late at night to do some stuff or just see what people are up to, like it's an enjoyable experience. If that wasn't the case, then this would have been possible.
Yeah, I can remember the days when I'd wake up and there'd be a new Twitter link with something wolves. I'd be like, oh, another one.
That was a time. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, it was one wolf project after the other, right into a little project called Wolf Game. I think people have heard of it. I don't know where they got these ideas. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the last 6 months have been such an incredible ride. And, you know, Free Market talking about just having this idea in the back of his head, and then Charlie independently. I mean, even from my own experience was you know, in a previous life back when I was younger, used to do quite a bit of art, and, you know, life goes on. You start your career, start doing sometimes those hobbies take a back seat, and I don't know what it was, but I was messing around with making pixel art. I made this pixel draft. I don't even know if you guys remember that. And I was like, look at this draft I made. And then next thing I know, I'm just in a chat with FMC, Charlie, and NVO, and be like, check out these wolves. I was like, holy shit. Like, it was so cool. And it was just like such odd, strange timing for me to even go down that route and appear. But it's been incredible watching those Moon Mondays go down where the Genesis Wolves have gone out, and just you know, seeing people so hyped about the artwork, knowing the amount of work that Charlie put into those pieces, helping with design a bunch of them myself, and like it is just like honestly, it's so humbling, it's so flattering, and then to know that like that's just the tip of the iceberg for this project, like just the jump off point, and how excited people are about so much more to come. And I mean, the generative is only the next step, but to be a part of that process, incredibly
Um, I just wanted to, before we kind of wrap up, wanted to thank all of you on stage for everything you've done so far, and for hopping on tonight. Well, it's tonight for me, but I also wanted to thank Pappy and Crazy Swimmer, our two mods that they've been rock steady, always helping out. Couldn't have done it without them. I just wanted to give them a little shout out, just to let them know that they are widely appreciated by, I think, everyone in the server that's ever spoken to them, or like if they've ever DM'd or whatever. Everyone is always big thumbs up about you guys. So thank you for everything you've done.
I want everybody that's listening to go into the pack chat and tag Poppy and Crazy Swim. Give them a round of love too. These are just two absolute stand-up gentlemen that have been alongside for
firm handshakes in the general. Let's see some firm handshakes in there, gentlemen.
Light it up. There we go.
Light it up.
All right. There. Oh man, you guys are going nuts. I love it. All right, guys. I think that is probably time to wrap it up. If any of you want, a final 30 seconds to say anything, although that last segment was kind of it. I mean, please do.
See you in the server. Let's keep it going. I'm in there every night. I'm excited to chop it up with all y'all, and certainly not the last time that we'll answer your questions. We have been answering them for 6 months, and we'll continue to do so. Let's get it.
Where we're going, the moon will just be a speck of dust.
Oh, hell yeah. I can't wait for us to all have our meetup at Barnes & Noble coming up soon.
So pumped. Be there, fellow kids. We will see you there.
Super bullish.
All right, guys. Thanks you so much for tuning in today. There was about 200 of you here for the entire thing. Like I said, we're going to have this recorded and chop it up. Make sure that it's accessible for anybody that tuned in late or had to leave early. And of course, be on the lookout for more details about the Monday's Mint Day that is quickly approaching, and we are all very excited about that. On behalf of all of the team, myself, and the mods, thank you so much for all of your love, all of your support, and your participation in this AMA. It's been incredibly flattering with how rabid everyone's been for this project. We're always around. Make sure to tag us if you need anything. We're always here to help. And yeah, we'll see you in there.